Some of these people out here have lost their mind. They feel that it's time for Coach Prime to move on, get it together or else. I'm going to say this one time and one time only. Coach Prime ain't going nowhere. There might be a few folks that's going to leave, but Coach Prime ain't going nowhere. And I'm going to tell you why he ain't going nowhere. Some of you may agree. Some of you may disagree. Some of you might even think, man, you crazy. Ain't no way in the world you thinking like that. It's not even possible. I got to be honest with you guys. It's time to really think about this thing because, you know, some folks think he's going to a particular place. We're going to talk. You know what? Let's start this thing up right now. Y'all already know what time it is. This is another episode of Blow the Whistle. Your favorite coach, Coach Walker. Where I come in this thing, I blow the whistle on all that bullshit going on in these streets, standing 10 toes down, telling you exactly how it goes down. And I know some of y'all don't want to hear what I got to say, and it's okay. I understand it. I respectfully understand. But you know what? I ain't here to sit here and make you feel good about what's going on. I'm here to deliver some actual factual so you can see just what time it is. Because I'm watching some of these individuals talk about how Coach Prime needs to do this. Coach Prime should have did that. And this should have happened. And why did that happen? And blah, 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 blah. Well, guys, everybody was excited when Coach Prime came in and took a 1-11 team the year before. He inherited that. And they went, 4-8? So now you go 4-8. It's like, okay, the expectations there are even higher now. And then turn around the next season, go 9-4. With the expectation, with the hopes of, man, had they won that one game, they would have made it to the Big 12 championship. Well, it didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way. Colorado team was good enough to get 9 wins based on the schedule that they had last season. Now, some of these teams that we're watching them, that we're seeing them play this year, they didn't play last year. But the funny thing is, like the Iowa State, I don't think they played them last year, but they beat them this year, 24-17. Who else with TCU? If I'm not mistaken, last year they beat TCU. So I'm just sitting there like, okay, guys, what's really going on here? What's really happening here? BYU, if I'm not mistaken, I think they lost to BYU last year. They lost to them again this year. But they lost to BYU in the daggone bowl game, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I'm going to double check myself. So if I'm wrong, y'all will see me post up for y'all to see it. But all I'm simply saying is this. Looking at the structure of how everything went down, you lost some key athletes on the team. Shador, Shiloh, Travis, Silman Craig, Jimmy Horn Jr., Wester, and then we ain't even talking about the athletes that left the program and went somewhere else to play. Then we haven't even looked at that. But you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you anyway, just so you have who I'm talking about. So we ain't getting no confusion going on here. Cause I just want you to understand, like, this is what's really going on in this thing. Like, okay, you're looking at the offense and the defense for Colorado Buffaloes, right? They're sitting what? Defense is ranked 118th out of 134. Team's rush defense is ranked 132 out of 134, and they rank 56th in passing yards allowed. Now I'm like, come on, dog. You got to be kidding me, right? But the offense ain't that much better. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, like, okay, what exactly happened with this team? Because when we talk about what happened with this team last year and what's getting ready to happen with this team after the season is over with, you'll be scratching your head like, wait a minute, what? Let me break it down for you. Linebacker, Nikhil Hill-Green went to Alabama. Edge defensive lineman, Devon Hayes, Texas A&M. Cornerback, Colton Hood, University of Texas. Linebacker, Jalen Wester, Western Kentucky. Defensive tackle, Ryan Buell, Memphis. Quarterback, Destin Wade, North Alabama. Wide receiver, Jordan Anuwake, Stanford. He's injured right now. Offensive lineman, Hank Zelinskis, Rutgers. Offensive lineman, Peyton Kirkland, UAB. Offensive lineman, Khalil Benson, Indiana. Now, I ain't the smartest cat in the room, but I'm looking at 3 offensive linemen that would have been on the team playing this year, gone somewhere else. And I'm sure NIL had a little bit to do with it. We just gonna go ahead and cut the bull crap with all that. But then I look at the receiver, I look at the defensive players. I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. If you put these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would say at least 5 out there on the field with what you already got on that back end. Man, what? Colorado should be out here getting after it right now. And then not to mention, let's just think about the Cremani McClain and everything else, him leaving and a couple other folks moving on. I'm like, that was your depth that you lost for whatever reason. But see, I'm one of them type of folks, I'm one of them old school cats where I like to sit down, I like to listen just a little bit to see exactly, what else is going on out here that nobody's really talking about. And we've all had skirmishes with our teammates. But we've never come into camp asking, how many fights have you had this season? What does fighting your teammate have to do with anything? If that's the type of culture that you're creating, guess what? I understand why this looks like this. Sad, oddly enough, seeing Shedeur Sanders come back to Boulder, Colorado for homecoming, him take that walk with his dad, that was a beautiful moment because you can see Coach Prime begin to just relax a little bit. This is a new role for Coach Prime as far as him having to coach athletes that doesn't have the last name doesn't have his last name on the jersey or two out there. I mean, I'm just being real. But there are certain things that, that go on when you're not winning. Everything is magnified. You got Coach Sapp kicking the pylons down. That's like his ritual as far as with, one of the rituals that he has that he does before a game. So it's like he's trying to focus himself in with that. And people sitting there looking like, wait a minute, but your defensive line is looking like straight boo-boo. And I'm sitting there looking like, yeah. But it goes back again when you lost Lode Holt and Coach Dancy. You got to ask yourself the question like, okay, what's really going on here? Because those parts of the line was clicking. Now, I'm even going to go here, and I know some of you Buff fans out there might be upset with what I'm about to say, but y'all lost former offensive coordinator Sean Lewis, who is now coaching at San Diego State. He's the head coach at San Diego State. And he's putting together something that's going to be sustainable. Hell, you had athletes leave and go with him when he left the program. So it makes you wonder, like, what's really going on here? Travis Hunter, Shedeur, Shiloh, Wester, Silman Craig, Horn, they not coming back through the door. You got 3 coaches at each position that's on that staff. Where's the development? There's nowhere in the world this team should be looking like this. No way. And I feel bad for Salter because Salter brought his talents from Liberty University, thinking he was going to come to Colorado and it was going to boost his stock to position him to go wherever it is he's trying to go once he's done with college football. And I got to be totally honest with you. Looking at that offense, there is no scheme there. There is nothing to that will have a defensive player or a defensive coordinator thrown off based on what you're running. The same type of plays that was ran when Shedeur Sanders was there is being ran right now. Yes, don't get me wrong. A lot of that stuff is being ran the same in the damn NFL, especially over there with the Cleveland Browns. They want to talk about how Shedeur Sanders is not a benefit to them. I'm like, he probably going there, open that daggone offense up and had them folks looking crazy. Like, wait a minute, how's this kid putting these numbers up with this based on what he's seeing out there on the field? I got to give the kid his props. I got to give it to him. Because in that offense that's set up right now that Salter is in, there's one thing that everybody's not paying close attention to. Shedeur Sanders didn't throw for all those yards and wasn't able to find Travis Hunter and other receivers open in the manner in which they were if it wasn't for a few things that people just didn't catch on to. One, they were out there having a little bit more fun with this thing. They weren't as uptight trying to play this game. That's number one. Number two, they were playing backyard ball with folks, and people still don't get that part of the game. Know why I say that? Because there's one game in particular we watched Shedeur Sanders get locked in, and he's sitting there. He threw a pass to Horn Jr., in which he told him, he said, listen, on the next time we run this play and they got that same defense, stop right there in the middle of the zone. If they're in a zone cover, stop right there in the middle of that zone and go straight up the middle of the field. I'm going to dart you. I'm just going to throw a dart out there to you. And what did he do? Boop. Touchdown. They was killing him the whole game. They couldn't stop the passing attack. You got Travis Hunter out there breaking routes, coming back to the quarterback. No one is trying to bail out the quarterback. It's either everybody on a go route or, it's like nobody's looking to come bail the damn quarterback out. Everybody want the deep ball. They trying to get the stacks. Everybody trying to stack pad. And it looked bad. But I say this, yes, you guys are running the ball a little bit more. You got Marshall Faulk over there helping y'all with the rushing attack. But I'm like, you're forced to run right now. You still, those running backs out there, they still dancing too much. One cut and go. That's all we looking for. One cut and go. But hey, who am I? I'm just a guy behind a microphone trying to tell you exactly what's going on out there in the field. I mean, if you sit back long enough and think about it, you'll see it for yourself. Now the question is, we back and forth as far as if you're gonna play Staub, you're gonna play Salter, or you're gonna play Lewis. I understand the fact that you brought Lewis in there. Lewis got a high NIL value. And because I ain't here to count the kids' money. No, we ain't here to do that. There's some folks out there that's counting his pockets trying to figure out why in the world did this kid get this type of money and he's not out there playing. I'm going to be honest with you. One or two reasons why you're not out there playing. Either A, you're not catching on to the plays fast enough, or B, there's something else going on as far as with understanding the terminology, or you're not able to read the defense in the manner what you're supposed to. But looking at that young man go out there in the game this past Saturday, you got to ask yourself the question, is it time to just go ahead and take the leashes off of him, take the chains off of him, let him go? Sometimes they say ignorant on fire, everybody going to come watch you burn. Everybody's waiting to see this kid that got all his money. But I'm looking at all these athletes that left, and that's why I came to the money, because I'm like, was it that you didn't want to pay this kid all his money? You wanted to pay this kid the money, but you didn't want to pay those other young men the money for them to stay. You lost athletes on both sides of the ball. Athletes on both sides of the ball. That would have been beneficial to the offense and defense this season. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. The other thing that they say, hey, we need, Colorado needs to go ahead and recruit athletes from Colorado. Well, you know what? Guess what? They are getting some homegrown folks up in there. They get some homegrown folks up in there. I think it's like, two to three every season. ESPN posted that showing that, the athletes that signed and committed to Colorado, these are the athletes from where they came from. And I think one or two or three every season since Coach Prime been there. But some folks feel that, hey, we need to get more than two or three. I can kind of respect that. Now, don't get me wrong, though. Those two or three, you had one, I believe, came from high school, and one came from the transfer portal. I'm just giving you what I saw. But the point I'm trying to make is, when you have a lot of Buff fans, Buff fans got to understand the coach that you have. Coach has basically been given the green light to come in and do what he needs to do to build a program. And thus far, he's excelled. This season, it ain't been so great. First season coming out, first season back, first season in the Pac-12. Yeah, they was 1-11 the season before. I'm like, hell, if they went 2-10, everybody would have been happy. 3-9, everybody been happy. They went 4-8. Then turn around, they went 9-4. got a bowl bid. But you got to understand one thing. The individuals that were a part of that were the individuals that's been with him the longest. They understand who he is. They understand the coach that's standing there. Now, some of these coaches that's in these coaching rooms, that's in these position rooms, it's sink or swim now. Because if we ain't coaching, then guess what? It's time to move on. It's time to move on. For the life of me, I still don't understand why Coach Mo, Lode Holt, and Dancy, those are three productive people. Why they not there? Because looking at the Colorado Buffalo football team right now out there on the field, they don't look like they were in shape like they were with Coach Mo the past 2 seasons. I'm just being real with you. Just being honest. This is my own personal assessment. Some folks may say, man, you crazy. So-and-so got them looking good. Hey, if that's what you feel, okay. But from the advantage point of where we are right now, Colorado basically killed the bowl bid to try and get that. What, they got 3 games left? They got West Virginia, Arizona State, Kansas State left. So basically, this is where we are. Coach Prime is at the crossroads right now. Yes, many of us thought he was going to leave because of his health situation. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I wanted Coach Prime to stick around the program, let someone else come in there and run that thing. He go out there and wheel and deal like he normally does, and shake hands, kiss the babies, and bring the athletes into the program so that they can come play for Colorado and keep that thing moving. It didn't happen that way. Coach Prime, he's going through his health situation, and he's standing tall. He 10 toes down with it, like, hey, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be here for them. But his absence, when they say absence make the heart grow fonder, well, in this instance, absence allows some chaos to get in this thing that shouldn't have never been there. Because at the end of the day, you got to look at it from the standpoint. Athletes were being coached in a different manner while you were gone compared to now you're there. Now there's some sense of accountability that needs to go on. Coach Bartolone, position coach, think tight end coach, it's about time for him to go ahead and pick them plays up. I'm not sure if it'll happen this season, but you have a pretty daggone decent offensive coordinator that's sitting and waiting. Juju Lewis, you're going to put him out there on the field, put him on the field. Go ahead and let him rock out for the last 3 games. Like I stated before, all of this back and forth, it's like you're beating them down, but nobody's building them back up. And that's where the development comes in at. Because everybody thinks that how they were coached when they were growing up is the same way that's going to work today. Guess what? That crap don't work like that today. You know why? Because these athletes are not the same as many of us that played the sport during that time period. They're not. They're not. They have to be coddled a little bit more, made to feel like, hey, they are a part of something. You got to give them a couple more extra attaboys. All this just looking at like, man, get up out of here. We ain't trying to hear that. That's not working no more. Got to find a way to go ahead and get everybody galvanized to want to come on in and see what's going on. I'm just being honest with you. But hey, y'all ain't got to hear. Y'all don't have to believe me. Hey, listen, you don't give up 105 points in 2 weeks, bro. I mean, what? And you lose like that on homecoming? You never lose like that on homecoming. No, not like that. Not like that. No. But like I said, it's time. It's a little bit. It's time for everybody to look in the mirror to figure out exactly what's going on with this thing, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you look at the list of these athletes that left, where they are now, where they're playing, the programs they're playing for, and they're being productive. Colton Hood is getting off in Tennessee. Come on, man. You let that walk out the door? You already saw it was that the one kid that left and went to Kansas State, the running back. I mean, at some point in time, we got to be real what's going on. If everybody gonna play the money game, it's time to play the money game. Coach Prime ain't going nowhere. He ain't going to no Cleveland. Going to Cleveland for what? That's an even bigger headache dealing with that than what he's dealing with right now. And you can't go to no pros and play the same game over there thinking that what you did in college is going to work over there in the pros. That's not going to happen because you don't get to go in the transfer portal and get the athletes. You got to coach what's on hand right now. If it happens, boy, hey, I'll be sitting here shaking my head like, boy, Cleveland just sold this thing to the highest bidder. They sold to the highest bidder. Do I think Shedeur should be out there playing? Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. I'm not impressed with Dalen Gabriel. I wasn't impressed with him when he was at Oregon. I wasn't impressed with him when he was in the NCAA college playoffs last year. I wasn't impressed with none of that. I wasn't impressed with none of that. But it is what it is. But at the end of the day, all I'm simply saying is this. Coach Prime, it's time to put some of them athletes in there and see what they can do. Because 37, 38 athletes leaving the program at the end of the season. Hey, Coach, that's a lot to backfield. So let's see how all this is going to roll out. But, hey, y'all Colorado fans, y'all stick with your favorite coach. Y'all stick with Coach Prime. Give him your undivided attention. Give him the daggone backing that you wanted to give him that you feel he should have. Because guess what? I'm going to say it. When he was at Jackson State and he was ready to leave and come to Colorado, everybody had so much nasty stuff to say to them daggone Jackson State folks that y'all was loving it. Y'all was loving it right now. But you know what? Don't leave him now and want to come back when this thing kick off. Because the schedule, go back and look at the schedule. The last schedule that they had when he was in the Pac-12, pretty. The strength of schedule was pretty. It was daggone a competitive schedule. They came in the next year. They came in that first year with in the Big 12. That thing was it wasn't as I would say it was a competitive schedule, but it wasn't as competitive as I expected it to be because it more so fit Shedeur's system style of play, which was throwing the ball all over the daggone field. And then we already know in the Big 12, a lot of them cats out there cannot cover. Big 12 is known for running the ball. Hey, until somebody proved me wrong with that thing, hey, it is what it is. But Shedeur Sanders came out there and showed he could fly that ball all over the daggone field against them teams that did not have no defensive backs that could cover. 9 games. But then when you got run up against the teams, got that front 7 that could get after it, that show behind Mr. Postman. And he saw that. Salter, I will say, have not taken as many sacks this season as Shedeur did the last 2 years, last year or the year before that alone, just a single season alone. So kudos to the offensive line from that standpoint. But we already know Salter will pull that ball down and run. Got a little running game going on. Yeah, you have to run because ain't nothing else is working. Your receivers is not breaking away from getting separation from defensive backs. It seems like these teams now, they say, hey, Colorado like to throw. We're going to go get us some defensive backs come out here and cover. Oh, they watch it too. So now Coach Prime got to step it up again. But you know what? I done held y'all long enough. Your favorite coach going to go ahead and get up on out this thing. This is another episode of Blow the Whistle with your favorite coach, Coach Walker. Well, I come on out this thing and I blow the whistle on all the bugs out here in these sports streets. I hope y'all enjoyed this content. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tune in, tap in, tell a friend of a friend to come on over there to Tomorrow Leader Sports Network and say, hey, hit that subscribe button, post notifications to all, like the show. Hey, even if you don't like the show, dislike the show, it's all good. I take it either which way you want to give it to me. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and get up on out here because I held y'all long enough. But until next time, y'all know what it is.